Facebook.
3, 2, 1. Somebody's
There
here.
we are.
Is that a wind chime? Or is that somebody's
is that
alarm?
sound?
I think that's
you?
somebody's wind charm.
Nice.
Hey,
You're my
man,
wind
welcome
chime.
back, everybody, to Elyse TV. It's Tuesday,
Always
which
chiming in
means
when we need you.
it's Tuesday, 2 o'clock West Coast time, which means whatever you've got to do the rest of the day, you might as well cancel it because you're going to be drinking with us for the next hour, man. And
Hey, special
May-
thanks
our
may
very
be the
special
best-
guest
the best-
today.
best
Somebody pour
hour
brother
of
some
your
liquid,
day.
man.
the man, the myth, the wedgie. Legend.
For those of you that don't know Russell Bevan, crawl out from under your rock and get ready to have some fun today, man.
It was a nice surprise for us.
It's an even better surprise for me. So, gentlemen, we are drinking 19s.
Yes, we
And
are.
We are going to rock the Sonoma coast
Yes.
in Russian River. You know, when I think about 19, I don't remember what you guys think, but I think, oh my God, we're here.
I remember
this
your
is now
giddiness.
our house. We are taking Elyse into our realm of production, personality, and we turned this beautiful facility here in the middle of Yountville that had old bones and some personality into a bloody pirate ship. And from that day,
We know the rule for renovation. You find any old bones, you chuck them in the neighbor's yard. I got no time to fill out
Only
those,
his wife can call him an anchor.
You know, the thing about Russell is, in your winemaking, and all these reds and all this attention you get, your whites make me the happiest, though. These Chardonnays, okay, I'm a Chardonnay guy. I don't care. Everybody's talking about big highfalutin cabs, and I love the Pinots. I'm tried and true at the end of the day. I am a Chardonnay guy.
Delish.
And I got to tell you, the first sip of the 2019 Sonoma Coast Chardonnay for me was like coming home. There was like a moment of super, like, we're back, the band's back, everybody's back, the crowd's back.
You know, the stress with 2019 is we had the largest rainfall in the history of California. Going back almost 100 years,
Wow.
we had more rain than we'd ever had. Over 140 inches in Santa Rosa, California. And to get concentration and personality and verve into the wines, we had to do so many passes, literally going through and chopping the canopy down. But while chopping the canopy at the top down, so we can have hormonal balance coming from the top of the shoots where the engines grow down, we would then leave all the stuff at the bottom of the vine. So it was woolly bully. It was the ugliest vintage
Cue the song.
ever worked. Every vine looked like a train wreck. And normally
kinda
we'd
like
walk through the
average day
vintage
here at Elyse.
hey,
Train wreck.
we shave and come in pretty each and every
Speak
day
for
at
yourself.
Elyse. But managing the vigor of the vineyards in Sonoma County with all that rain and getting the vines to start thinking, okay, I need to be reproductive. They had so much water and nutritional base that they didn't want to make flavorful grapes. They wanted to build deeper root systems. They wanted to have thicker wood and cordons and trunks. And we had to find ways to stress them to get them to make flavorful grapes.
that's
and
the
that was
hardest
a
thing.
battle.
That's the hardest thing for people to get their heads around, man. They're like, let me get this straight. Like, I go and I fertilize and I nurture my little spring garden. I'm growing my peas and my vegetables. And we show them how we grow grapes. We're like, yeah, none of that encouragement works for us.
No.
We need to do the opposite, man.
Yeah.
You know?
No trust fund vines to make their best grape. They need to struggle, given only what they absolutely need, not all they want.
And so we want less water.
Yep.
We want early season water deficit irrigation so they feel stressed. It's like, okay, I don't have enough water to bake a big grape. I need to protect my seed. I need a thicker skin. So we want that early water. There was so much water. We were walking through vineyards, in June, and we were still getting mud on the bottom of our
Glurpy
boots.
out there was the professional word, I think.
So, yes.
Yeah.
We had chunks of stuff in our truck that came from our boots this time.
7-Eleven's going to sue you for a glurpy.
It's
like
Slurpee, glurpy.
it was work.
Like coming to
though.
America, McDonald's and McDowell's.
It was a whole different world.
Yeah. So, all right. So here's your put on the spot question. Pinot's tough. Single vineyard Cabernets. What presents a bigger challenge for you? A single vineyard Cab or a single vineyard Chard?
The Chardonnay, because the voice of Chardonnay comes from a combination of the grapes in the barrels, and we can't manipulate the fermentation. With reds, if somebody who's done much of this work, Christopher, you know, if a week into primary we're not getting the extraction, we put your big size 14s stomping, or somebody doing a more aggressive fire hose pump over.
Yeah.
With Chardonnay, you've got you pick it, you press it, it's in barrels. So you've got
Mother Nature.
The die has been
press
cast.
it in.
You know, yeah.
With reds, we can manipulate each and every step of the way because we taste them literally every day. We go through and check every fermentation. With Chardonnay, once it's in the barrel, you have a couple decisions. How much batonnage? And I hate using a French word. But
super
how much
fancy word
barrel
for
stirring we want to get the lees up and in. But if you don't get the concentration from the fruit, from the site, from the vintage, from your farming decisions, you're out of luck.
You got to remind guys like me too that are a little aggressive with the batonnage. You don't need to really work her quite
You
that
found
hard,
that out of your
man.
first
Yeah,
vintage doing the pool boy job in the cellar.
I think he found it out on his first date. I know that's wife.
Thank you, Elaine. You've raised an amazing child.
So toleration is the new love. You know?
Gandhi was all about toleration.
So the first one we tried was 2019 Sonoma Coast Addax. This is by far the most head to toe. There's no food pairing required with this one. This is a meal in a bottle. It is start to finish a standalone wine. I love the structure of this wine. I love how rich it is. Your ability to create that ML that takes the acid to a really pleasing level without making it flabby.
Totally.
Like that's the tightrope
That's
we
the thing
walk
that
with
white
these
Burgundy,
wines, you know?
people just like drool, and kind of we all do at some points. Pouligny Montrachet, Chassaignier Montrachet. They do 100% New French Oak. They do 100% Malo. Yeah, welcome to the club. But it is such balanced and acid, like everything. So Russell has that same ability, but with a wine and a Chardonnay that is not trying to be white Burgundy, but the balance is there for more flavor.
Let's call it Burgundy sensibility with California power. You know,
I love that. Nicely done.
We're trying to do things a kiss different. That's Sonoma Coast. Anybody can open that for somebody, whether they're a sommelier or a brand new drinker, and understand they're drinking something that has a level of sophistication and joy to it. That's just a pleasing, joyful wine.
Totally.
It is just like when it's cold outside and that first little ray of sunshine hits you and you feel that warmth and you just feel that goodness.
It's white wine season.
This is that just simple level of goodness. Then you go to the Purrington, which is a vineyard we've been working with for a long time. The original Rued plantings. And this has a level of complexity aromatically that's completely different.
Oh, yeah.
You go from approachable and energy and happy to something that you literally can smell and think about, because in here you're getting some beautiful vanilla bean, which does get accented by the oak, but this vineyard naturally has a spicy Gewürztraminer-like quality
so funny
to it.
Mentioning this. Our tasting notes, we're reading going, this sounds more like a Gewürztraminer Chard, you know?
You smell that spicy component that's complemented. In the barrels we use for this specifically are dominant from the Bertrange forest in France, because Bertrange, and we learned this way back when we were making our first few vintages together in 12 and 13, was Bertrange complements this core flavor. And this is an example of us historically just experimenting. I remember we had 12 different barrels, and after the first year we cut it down to 8, we cut it down to 4, and now we're at 4, but we've found what complements naturally the amazing complexity
Ever
of
get a chance to do a tasting like that? It was so eye-opening to take the same vineyard, same harvest date, and put it in all those different forests and go, my God, the forest does have an impact on the wine. And that's a big part of winemaking that can be almost over the top with trying to explain that the vineyard is one thing for complexity, the winemaking style is another one, but the forest that created that oak has as many flavors to contribute to this whole equation as anything.
And this wine has a phenolic impact on the back of the palate, almost like Gewürztraminer does. And so when you go from joy to intellectual and serious, and there's a big leap between the two. And gentlemen, what's our third Chardonnay?
Well, Richie. I thought we'd drop
Is there a story behind that?
Come off the top rope and just drop the elbow on you with the
real
Richie,
quick,
you know?
because it's so fun to hear him talk and break things down that have such complexities, but to put them in layman's terms that even I can understand. So the phenolic.
That's an accomplishment, by the way.
It is.
See Dick run. See Dick drink Chardonnay. See Dick prefer the Russian River. You know, yeah.
Drink it, Dick. No, but the whole phenolic compound that you got on the back end of the Rued, what does that mean? In maybe further layman's, like.
So thank you. So that clone on that site has a thicker skin, and the clusters come in really small, and they come in dappled, almost like they have freckles. And there's a lot of what we call chicks and hens. There's bigger grapes and there's super small grapes. The super small grapes don't have seeds, so you're just getting all of that phenolic, which is tannin, impact from those chicks that are offset by the hens that give you all that weight and that little bit of phenolic. So that is pull from those small baby grapes that give you the weight in the back. And then you go to Richie, and I've not tried the Richie here today, but Richie normally is dancing on your tippy toes, waving a hand out in front of you. This is just good late night sex
Rudy,
appeal
he's talking
fun.
to you right now.
Rudy in a tutu?
I'd watch that show.
I think your wife definitely would. She'd have like a bachelor.
Oh, they want to know if we're having like one of those
layover.
spin-off shows, you know, like Rudy in San Jose or anything.
Yeah, Rudy and Russell.
Yeah.
Sorry. Completely different
Hands
than
down.
years past, because this vintage of Richie, and this is my first time going through all of them together, this has more acid up front. Rued traditionally
Yes.
has more acid in linear intensity on the front third of the palate. And again, 19, such an anomaly because of all of the water. And Richie drains beautifully. Rued on a hillside drains well. The vines, some of them are 100 years old. So even though there's great drainage, you have roots going down 25 feet. Getting Rued to stress was a huge effort. Getting Richie, not so much. And Richie's now going from complexity and spice to peachy and ripe citrus.
So all the water he's talking about, when we were at Kent Ritchie's Vineyard, he's got this pond with the tire swing thanks to Russell and this little chill space, you know. And he's got all these little turtles
Don't eat the
snapping
fish in
around
that
in this
reservoir.
lake. There was so much rain in 19. We walked the vineyard and still, you know, sklarking through everything, man. We come across turtles that are at the top of the vineyard. There was so much water. The water turtles were like, oh, this is great, man. I got a lot more, you know, room to roam
I can get
around.
exercise and still.
So here we come out of the vineyard holding this turtle, and Kent comes around the corner and goes, oh, you found my turtle. Like, just talking back in the pond when you guys come down and drink beers with me, man.
It is that magical of a pond, and we have swung on said rope swing many a days. But in 19, this is a different Richie than years past. I think it's more tongue forward. In the past, I think Richie's been a little deeper and
weightier
heavier
in
on the back.
Yeah.
This Richie's going to complement cuisine more than the others. I think the previous
Interesting, cool.
Richies, those are you rubbing a perfectly flat belly and feeling something.
I knew what that was like 14 months ago.
This has not a flat belly, but it has a 16 pack, and you feel all of that.
How do we get the other 8
movement
beers out of that 16 pack?
And Richie's a hot site. I mean, for Chardonnay,
Absolutely.
it is a warm
It's
little
exposed.
pocket. In
Banana
the
belt.
It is,
It's a rare banana belt in the Russian River.
And it typically brings a little more of the oily weight in that heat kind of condition to Richie. And so this, I like
This
the
is the
vibrancy of this.
freshest
Absolutely.
Richie we've ever made.
Now, if you're a red wine drinker and you're watching today, don't glaze over and go watch your bracket just get decimated this year, man. All right,
Go
Just calm
Zags.
down. That's right,
Yeah,
man.
Go Zags.
I picked him to win, baby.
Go
I
Zags.
got him.
So if you actually want to win a bracket, you pick who not everybody's picking. Now I'm like 4th, but I know I have no chance at winning because everybody picked Gonzaga.
But I'll
and
tell you
Smart
right
Move.
now-
I'm rooting for you.
Got 7 years, Gonzaga alum.
Lots of guys go to school
no
for 7
bandwagon.
years.
And that's only because he taught for 4 years. He taught people how to get by without going to class.
If you're a red wine drinker and you're watching the show today, look, if you let these Chardonnays acclimate to a red wine temperature on your tabletop, the size of this wine is so
Really cool.
satisfying that one of our biggest comments we get here are, I'm a red wine drinker. I don't normally like Chardonnay. I love this. So there's a really interesting aspect to the weight of this wine. If you're a whiskey drinker, the love affair with all the forests of oak that we play with this wine has a lot to do with the tuning fork sensation that you're going to love about these wines as well.
What I would say is if you come back to Elyse and spend time with us, one of the fabulous things to do is, when I say blind taste, is don't look at the wine. And you can taste some of our white wines. And if you are not looking at the wine, you feel the phenolics, like I was talking about earlier on that Purrington Rued, in the back of the mouth. You think you have a red wine texturally. People will pick that as red at least a third of the time.
Have you ever done that?
If you're blindfolded, no.
Have you done the black
wine?
tasting?
Of course.
No. I want to do it.
We need, when it comes to doing the evaluation of textures from one to another, we need to get, Riedel makes those black glasses. We need to get those glasses.
It is the only way. You can think you know a lot. He knows a ton. I'm not bad myself, but to truly challenge yourself without the use of your senses other than really your olfactory, your nose, which is kind of everything, but like to have everything at the same temperature and taste a white wine and call it a red wine, it seems impossible. I've never done it, but I've been convinced by people that know more than me that it's not as easy as it seems.
That's very true. Well said.
AK brings the best of both of these, and it almost feels a little bit like 18. And so,
if I'm going to name a movie after the AK Cuvée, it's La Femme Nikita. This is a sexy chick that will bust you up if you don't watch yourself, man.
I was thinking
full-on,
like a sophisticated Thelma and Louise. Wow. Ride or die.
This has the fruit and palate energy of Ritchie, but then it also has the complexity of the Purrington.
Yeah, or maybe Natural Born Killers.
Only the scene where he shows up with the meat.
I never remember the movie.
What?
I do. I don't remember until something triggers my mind. It's like, oh, remember that scene?
I just got nervous when Christopher said he was going to show up with the meat.
That's right.
Yeah.
And cut.
And scene.
That's what the tasting got weird, officer.
I need to try the Sonoma County.
Yeah, so what I wanted to ask you earlier, is there any
AK.
Rued and Ritchie in Sonoma County? There's maybe a little, but then there's also I don't know. You tell me.
Would you pour them in this order?
Tiny.
Is also my question.
You know, AK has to go last.
Right.
Yeah. You can argue these two. You have to start with Sonoma County.
That's what I'm saying. So I always go acidity and power because I think once you hit the power of the Ritchie, sometimes the acidity misses a mark.
This is the exact order that we just did in Florida for our wine dinner on Saturday. Exact order.
But the Sonoma County, going back to it, still has so much personality.
Oh, God.
So
yes.
I think it's the most open out of any of these right now.
Yes.
Complexities are deep in these, but they're still...
It's the least
they've
serious.
Been forced into a tiny
pleasurable.
house 2 months ago.
I hate to put it this way, but qualitatively in 2 years, this is going to probably be the one at the end of the lineup. Right now, it's the most fun to drink.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In terms of the power, it's going to keep
the
growing.
Joy.
Yeah, because this is going to improve for years.
The complexities in all of these three
This
are
is
ridiculous.
giving so much already. Yeah. This is a wine that you want to just... Why would you age this? What are you going to look for it to bring you more of? Right now, it's first sunlight of the morning making you feel good and smile, and by God, that's what we should be trying.
But also, after a full day of drinking wine, let's say, you also finish with this.
Oh my goodness!
Because
a red solo cup on the drive home.
Or you're sitting by the fire pit and gonna stumble to bed or whatever.
I like to crack it right as I'm heading.
You've already slept through.
Sounds like the right time.
You slept through your Bouchon reservation.
It's a commuter-friendly Chardonnay.
These things are awesome.
I'm so proud to be here and participating with you gentlemen today.
I'm glad your timing worked out, man. That was too perfect. It's tough, from all the kinetic activity going on, it's really tough sometimes to get us all around the table, man. Like, we are always moving in 10 directions. I mean, my goodness, we didn't launch one winery, Josh Peoples, Cheryl Foyle. We launched 5, and don't forget 2 beverage companies thrown in on that. That's a lot of moving pieces, man, And I love the fact that all of you that come and see us, it's been really fun to see our visitors as of late. They come to see us And they're like, oh my God, I saw you guys on the show. Like, I love what you guys are doing. So don't be afraid to chime in, ask questions.
Also, Dean, you're off today. Thanks for holding the fort down while we're gone. But this is just, this cork came from that bottle, so I'm going to keep it with the bottle. Jeez, Dean. All right.
Okay, so in the world of wine, you make good Cabernet and good Chardonnay. You get a nice pat on the back, like, hey, nice work, killer.
By the way?
You make good Pinot. You get this different kind of respect in our industry. It's a very, very tough grape to work with in the vineyard. It's tough to work with in the cellar. It's tough to work with in your cellar in terms of ageability, when do you drink them, and all of this other stuff. Our theme here makes it very simple and linear. As soon as it's in the bottle, we consider it drinkable.
There's an orange peel to this.
It's got some cool...
this is the first time since bottling we've drank them all together, and there's years where, again, 19 was such an anomaly. Normally Santa Rita is going to be black and intense. Sonoma Coast is going to be super complex and have these meaty feral qualities, and in our new vineyard, Silver Eagle is
anyway. Sorry.
Wanted to be him in the first grade. Feral.
Yeah. Try being cubby with a cubby hole, but yours is the only one that says cubby.
My wife won't take me camping. She's like 3 days in the woods, and you tusk out, man. Yeah. Like, it's really intimidating.
It's like Teen Wolf in the woods.
No, seriously, he's actually naked in the woods finding dinner right now, man. Like,
he's not afraid. And there's no cameras.
He's foraging.
yeah, there you go.
Okay, so try to visualize that when you try this.
Actually, foraging is, with a lot of Pinots, you can get this mushroom. This isn't heavy, but there is this underlying complexity of a little mushroom.
So there's a little 828 clone in here, and it is called the Viagra clone because on your normal shoot of Pinot Noir, you're going up, and you'll get a cluster that hangs down. 828 actually hangs upside down. Some people call it the vampire clone. And then as the berries fill out, it then crawls over, but it starts out
as a tree trunk.
Absolutely. And then it falls down. And that quality gives us a little bit of meatiness and a little bit of the feral quality that we're talking about. But this has beautiful, fresh orange peel along with strawberry, raspberry, because again, it had rainfall, but then it wasn't hot. We didn't have a heat spike in 2019. In 15, 16, 17,
and 20.
We had all that heat that condensed all the flavors. In 19, we had to pick it at our own pace. We got to pick it at our own pace.
It was an elongated harvest, wasn't it?
It was a long
you got
harvest.
To pick
there was
your
no
dates.
heat. In here, we had a canopy that was so big that we'd whacked back so many times. At the end, we picked when we knew the canopy was starting to shut down. And this is one of those cool things about making wine. As the canopy starts to close down, the leaves go from green to yellow to orange. All of the hard minerals, the magnesium, potassium, all these things go to the next lower sink, and that's the grapes. Yeah. And we started to get buildup of nutrients in the clusters. Those nutrients, especially the potassium, it's kind of like eating a roll egg. So we started to lose acid and not have the same intensity. So we picked this when we thought the acid and flavor development had matched a perfect place. If we'd have left it go any longer, it would have been so flabby, even though the flavors may have been a little more intense and the texture's more intense, it wouldn't have had the purity of flavor.
So I can't put my finger on it, but when I smell the glass, this is sitting at Brasswood, north of St. Helena, when they bring you the Bistecca Florentina to your table. It's got the aromatics, there's a salinity to it, there's a absolute deep, rich red kind of red meat in the sweetness part of it for me. There's an earthy quality, there's a fresh herb, it's not rosemary, it's not a sage, but it's in that family of herbs that's coming right off the top of this, man. Like,
I think at Brasswood, this would be, you pop the bottle, you pour yourself a little bit, let it open up, but you have your first sip with the fresh made mozzarella, made,
See, I love the mozzarella with the Sonoma Coast Chard, man.
I'm just saying it's not a perfect pairing, but that's just you're going to love it.
If you're doing the mozzarella, you
what
need
you like,
the heirloom tomatoes with it.
Totally.
If it's just the mozzarella, the Chard, the tomatoes with that extra acid, you need some of the tannin probably to pull it in.
I like
but
it. Nice.
This is, and I mean this.
That's right. I said
this is not. This is not how we roll, but I'm going to say this. we're not polite.
Oh no! Don't hear this.
This Pinot is a well-behaved, rambunctious child. It's not the Three Stooges.
It's one you can hand an iPad to and say, "I'll see you in 2 hours."
Yes. Oh my God, the mid palate is all about the world of Pinot, though.
I love this wine.
And the color throws people. All you guys that have been drinking Pinots that you can see through for years. Everyone that loves those cranberry colored coastal Pinots, I totally respect that. This is not that Pinot. This is a full throttle, knife and fork, meat and potatoes Pinot. There is no doubt about that.
Guys, I want to mix up your order.
You're going silver.
I want to stay Sonoma before we go south.
I debated this because I thought you'd keep the two
and I know how dark this is going to be. This is
I like that. Because I actually went
to
Santa Rita
KL,
first, then Sonoma of the 18s, but this was 18s during my dinner.
Well, I'm just saying, because I waited. That very last sip I took of the AK when it warmed up a few degrees.
Oh, yeah.
It builds in girth, man. It does. Yeah. It builds in its depth as you let those wines warm up a little bit. I'm finding the same with the Pinot. The last sip has kind of shaken loose some of the fighting of the minerality and the acids because the fruit gets big enough to start meeting up with it.
You speak of fighting, and I kind of make the analogy to, let's just say, a UFC fighter, the Diaz brothers. They need to get hit a lot, and then all of a sudden, you're screwed. But that's kind of the AK. You let it warm up a little bit, and that first punch, it's like, oh, no. Now it's just delivering.
I always picture the guys in North Dallas 40 on the vending machine with their helmet.
I got to give a little shout out because they're good friends with the Diaz brothers, but Tyson Rippey, Nate Rippey, who own Rippey Family Vineyards, but they've got some things going on in Modesto, Fresno area that are really cool. But I grew up with them, and
we all know what Tony Montana said to do with the Diaz
I think
brothers,
their warehouse houses $2 Chuck.
I have a house in Stockton. I can't say anything bad about the Diaz family. I gotta keep my family safe.
Hell of a jab, though.
Can we talk? The Diaz's all have a good jab.
Yeah, they do.
Can we talk about the depth of the initial aromatic impact here? My first snip was wow.
I made a mistake and tasted it. Now I can't get off the texture flavor.
Well, the textures,
it's ridiculous. Good.
When you were 11 and you were first French kissing somebody and you were overly assertive and you were just sucking hard on the tip of their tongue, that's what the initial impact of this is.
I was 19 in Cancun before I did that. Sorry.
And by the way, kids, you should never do that to your bus driver.
But they gave me a Corona as soon as I stepped on the plane here on the bus. Actually, it was an El Sol.
Yeah. But
yeah, and this is just like
she is rubbing her eyes. She's waking up. So there's this vineyard is wrapped by trees, and none of them are pine that are adjacent to our block, but literally 400 yards, 500 yards away, there's some pine trees, and I like the pine in this. I'm saying that is a compliment.
Yeah,
I love that kiss of
it's bright,
piney.
Yeah, it's not sap, but it's
bright.
No,
it's the flavor.
Yeah,
it's like walking through a Christmas
menthol
tree
next
lot.
to eucalyptus trees, but this is pine.
Yeah,
but not Mr. Clean.
There's like bay laurel right underneath the pine. There's a little
French laundry, that bay laurel tree that they really go after.
There's a little bit of that right underneath the brightness.
This is
there.
gorgeous.
This is so texturally
I was so excited to
pour
pour this at a dinner. I brought one bottle. Had to bring it on the plane because it doesn't exist in our warehouses. We haven't released it. Nobody's gonna get it.
We only made a.
Nobody.
You can watch us drinking. That's as close as you're.
So, hey, name a couple other well-known winemakers. I mean, I got one on the tip of my tongue, but who else makes wine from this vineyard? This is our first ever single vineyard Pinot, right?
Yeah.
Addax.
Mommy, once you drink it, holy to
the mommy and umami.
Sam Kaplan from Memento Mori works with this. Thomas Rivers Brown works with this.
I apologize for everything we said at dinner the other night.
There's a lot of famous winemakers on this property.
This is a special vineyard. Is this who farms this vineyard?
Ulysses Valdez and
UV.
Now Junior, right?
Legend, Junior,
Junior.
Rest in peace.
And
father.
Senior was our guy. Boom.
Dad was the man. I first came across a lot of his wines drinking Vice Versa.
Yeah. Vice versa.
Yeah. Ulysses was a very good friend. This is a special wine. It's just a special wine.
Where are we
I was
located with
super
this vineyard?
stoked.
We are West Valley. We're not Sonoma Coast. We could call it Sonoma Coast.
Yeah, Sonoma Coast is so large and
San
encompassing.
Francisco. You look at a wall of Pinot, I think it's the easiest grape to get burned by. There are so many versions that are just, they're so afraid to touch it in the cellar that you leave it bruised. You leave the funk. You leave the VA. You leave all of these other things. These Pinots are the way Russell loves to capture this wine. We're not blending to create this flavor. We're tasting a barrel to go, what reminds me of plucking a cluster out of that vineyard the day we picked to make wine. You eat the grape, you chew it, the texture, the flavor. They're fresh. These are fresh fruit-driven wines.
Then Santa Rita's the girthy.
They don't call him Santa Rita.
I don't practice. Okay, so what's so funny is we do listen to a fair amount of
Good music. Dave Matthews.
our boy.
The whole theme of the show has been another dead guy in our show today. The Sublime dude, man.
Who died in Petaluma. You grew up in Sonoma County. He died in Sonoma County.
Josh and I
peace.
got to pour wine for the drummer from Sublime one day.
Oh,
nice.
We were practice Santarina. I don't
Got no crystal ball. I had $1 million. I'd pay Russell.
I'd spend it all.
That's awesome, man. Come on. Sing along.
Live and direct. This is all scripted for sure.
Wow. You guys are moving forward?
Girthy in the back.
Yes.
A sweetness that whereas Silver Eagle was front and had the pine.
And
this
middle,
is
and
girthy and then has the sweetness in the back. A total antithesis, but within the family of
Second
the
big
two.
word. When am I going to come up with a big word? So I almost feel like I heard kind of that similar description when you were on
I've
stage
heard a lot of
with
people
Adam
ask
Duritz
when you're going to
at
come up with
Outside
something
Lane.
big, period. So
It's not on the cards. It's not in the jeans.
I've apologized for myself
Sorry.
many times. It's all good.
Rachel taking care of. I don't know if Rachel's on camera, but
Yeah.
one of the faves. Hopefully, when you come to visit us, you'll be lucky if she takes care of you.
This is so.
So, every time I taste our Santa Rita Hills Pinot, I just want to send a bottle to Brian Laurie.
All right. Yeah. I just had my tasting
Brian, this is
before.
what it's like to pick 6 weeks later.
My tasting before is Joaquin and Farrell.
I'm just messing with
Joaquin,
you,
he only
Brian.
has one wine club left, and it's Foxen. So different
Oh
than
my
Loring,
God,
but
old
Foxen,
school,
Santa
yeah.
Barbara. It's like, dude, I've tasted it both Loring and Foxen. And
Okay, guys,
right.
this is total chimp mode, and I apologize.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm just taking a kiss of Silver Eagle.
Oh,
You're doing
So, hey, Russell is a master blender, too.
I'm a master something.
Yeah,
there's-
blend as often as humanly possible.
Self-prescribed PhD in master's.
Drinkology. So
Yes.
I believe in Malcolm Gladwell's taking 10,000 hours to master something.
I
Totally.
like that. I always liked
for
that
sure.
concept.
I spent
Always
years and
thought of
years
that with
tasting
tennis and
and
stuff.
taking notes on every wine, and I was part of one of the greatest wine tasting groups in the world in Minneapolis, and we would play so much, and you have to learn your skill set. And guys, no, they're both better by themselves. I was thinking that the front
got that
forward Silver Eagle with the power in the back of the Santa Rita would blend perfectly, but together they become muddled. And Josh Peoples is the person who taught me this early on. It was our first year making wine together, and we were blending, and I said, these are my 8 favorite barrels. And he looked at me and he said, have you ever seen a rock band where they put 8 lead guitar players on the stage? And have they
awesome.
ever been
I love
good?
his analogies.
And I'm like, well, it's going to work
They
here
get straight to the point.
until it didn't. And this is an example of 2 things that intellectually, when you extrapolate the excellent standard of each, which is so different front to back to front, that they would find harmony in. Yeah, it didn't.
So, for those of you that have not spent a lot of time in the wine industry, a winemaker drinking his own wine can be a very painful experience at a dinner party, man, because they're like artists that keep paintbrushes in their jacket pockets, and you will bust them at your house. There's just one more brush stroke I want to finish.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, like, you're never going to hit that perfection.
Yeah,
And
imagine the regrets for some.
Want to tinker.
He doesn't have it, but he doesn't drink his own wine. So the fact that we're getting him on camera, and some of these are the first time he's had them since they've been bottled.
Well, the stress.
It's pretty cool.
I no longer enjoy doing public tastings because I take the wines too seriously.
Yeah, you're your own harshest critic.
When we get the whole wine team together and we all taste, those
You're
days,
a great orator,
I don't
Josh.
sleep the night before though because
I believe it.
I'm worried about the
about that, Heidi.
winemaking team being disappointed.
Yeah, what does that have to do with the wine?
Everybody going through the process and the stress of a wine disappointing is so much heavier than
You only
the
get one
elation
shot at it.
of something being truly
You've
excellent.
never rested on so much as the ledge of a laurel.
It's
Every
not.
bottle you put together is like your last success.
It's not. It's a
So much-
laurel bakery, and there's
so
no
much
laurels to
more
rest
intense.
on for him. So he's usually like bringing us amazing German and Austrian Rieslings and like all these things, and we'll blind taste each other or just drink them together and talk about it.
After the Rita's has been in your glass, though, the rose petals come out. There's
Which
something-
one? Which
the
are you on his
Rita's-
blend or the Rita? Oh,
The
cool.
Rita's,
This
normally
is the
she's
Rita.
really dark and meaty, but there's something really pretty and floral. That little rose petal coming off the top.
There's a density to this that still
again,
hasn't totally.
This vintage is going to be an anomaly.
Yeah.
It has a high level of excellence, but it's going to be different. When we do verticals in 15 years and we taste the 19s, we're going to say, this is a different child. And we know why, because Mother Nature
like we
gave
have any
us...
19s left. You've not seen the way we run our
We're gonna
library
sell out
here,
of the
man.
19s
Oh, yeah.
before we.
We are the
release
worst
some.
winery in the history of wineries for
Huh.
maintaining a library. Man,
You should see the fights that goes on with staff. It's like we're almost sold out of a 19 Elyse wine, and we haven't released 18s yet.
yeah, we're
crazy.
terrible.
I'll be honest, that's a true story that I had to get in the middle of. We're talking Ziegler Zinfandel, right? You guys are killing me.
Oh,
the other
my
day I was
God.
like,
And 18 more
I'd love to have
Zin,
a
too.
bottle of this to show to some Zin
Good
producers.
luck.
And
We're not
they're
going to
like,
see
they're
how good it
hard
ages. We're going to have to
because
buy it back from collectors.
everybody at the winery here has their own stash that they've ditched in a corner of one of our cellars, and I didn't take any of the wine at bottling. I'm just excited to know that they're here when I have the opportunity. But
I got a case with a nipple on it for
yeah.
you.
Nice. And Magnum. We do Magnums. That's the
Yeah,
only
I
way to
mean,
roll,
yeah.
man. Come on. Look, and we'll
Slow
I
and
think
steady.
in the coming years we'll start putting. We did Shards and Mag. I don't think we did Mags of Pinot this time. But
For the 19s?
Yeah, but I don't know that for a fact. But
I don't know
But
either.
we love the large formats even of the Pinots because I already know I'm drinking 2 bottles. Why pretend? You know?
Yeah.
Plus, I love having that second half of the whole Magnum
And
showing so
I'm
well.
also tired of the excuse. Like, one, you can trust us. Well, some of us. Meaning none of us.
Yeah.
What once in a while.
Yeah, no, but honestly, we're just going to be honest, genuine. Our true feelings will come out when you ask a question. There's no hiding behind it. But Magnums, just because it doesn't fit in your fridge, just because it doesn't fit in your wine fridge, I will teach you how to store it correctly.
Russell
you
doesn't
will,
like
you
Magnums
will.
because he has to move. So he opens the
I
750
call it
going-
Magnum Mini.
He gets like, oh my god, that was delicious. Let's move on, folks. Let's try the next one. Blam, let's pull the cork. Okay, that was great. Let's move on to the next one. You're like, can we go back and try that first one again? Like we're motoring along, man.
That's for
The level of both stress and
bottle's dead
excitement
to me
to
now.
try each one.
Funny you saying that after you drink out of a bottle and then I've got to take the last sip. Sloppy lass.
Well, get bigger shoulders.
I need to go to the weight room with him.
Oh my god, don't ever fall for let's work out with Russell today. Every time you think you're that guy, you're not that guy.
Oh, and also I'd like a little shout out to another guy that likes to work out, Jason Moore.
Jason Moore.
So Brasswood Winemaking. So he
Yeah, but
sells
Russell doesn't take pictures of himself working out. Jason.
Andy, Louie, and Jason own the Find in Danville. And they sell the crap out of Addax Chard and Standard Deviation Chard. And they brought up a bench, and they're making some of them part of their wine club, which means we'll be sold out of what they need, and we'll have to jump them to another vintage.
Shout out to Standard Deviation.
Yes.
One of my winemaking team, former winemaking
Apprentice.
team, who's become a famous winemaker, Justin Harmon.
Dominating.
I had to bring my Standard Deviation shirt today. Make sure if I'm here on camera, Justin gets the love. His beautiful bride Beth is pregnant with the little baby girl, so they have number 2 on the way. But yes,
this isn't part of it, but there's a big O face that Russell's showing right now, so we're not gonna do it. But the big O, this will never be part of the equation for most of you.
Grab another glass, please, Christopher, or just do this.
Yeah,
Try the AK. The AK Chard next to the Pinot almost has the same type of girth that you get out of the Sonoma County. It's not as dense as the Silver Eagle or the Santa Rita's in the back, but this is now an example where if we had black glasses and we poured everybody through these Pinots and went back to this, they would think this would be a red wine.
I like the black glasses instead of the blindfold. It's just more PC these days.
Easier to find the bathroom.
Yeah. Well, if I had both,
a little more difficult to find your date.
But she's trying to ditch you, so finding her would be tough.
But it's one of those situations where we taste these wines and we keep telling our visitors, don't be afraid to let these Chardonnays sit on the table like a red wine. They are.
When you hear the bell, shit. That's when shit goes bad.
Good.
When you refrigerate,
I wanted the bell sound.
No. Who was the kicker for the Buffalo Bills? Wide right.
Scotty Norwood.
You went Norwood.
I went wide right.
It was.
Yeah, my apologies, everybody. Thank you for your patience, boys.
Yeah. Where's Bill Buckner?
I got excited.
He's like, finally, that thing is off of my damn back, man.
You realize my uncle has a World Series ring because Bill Buckner from Napa. That thing goes through his leg.
Between his legs.
Yeah. Anyway.
Great with the back. Couldn't bend over very well.
I think we needed to change the momentum, so I just did that subconsciously on purpose. I wanted to bring you into the sliding thing and the big ringing of the bell before we got to the AK.
Big fan of...
It's just winemaking 101, man. There's cataclysm mixed with beauty, mixed with action, mixed with love.
And talk about one of the cleanest cellars in all of Napa Valley. Our crew
we have achieved
is ridiculously meticulous.
It took us some time, but we've brought the lumber in the ways of sanitation.
Everybody just are so good at what
Marley
they do.
song. Sanitation. Oh no, that might be Stephen Marley.
19 standard deviation white blend.
Overstanding.
Biggity.
What is our total construction of this? Is Sauvignon Blanc and what?
No, actually, Chardonnay, Marzon
Viognier, Roussan,
yeah, see?
Rued. Viognier, Roussan, Rued.
Wow, we went away. I was looking for the
25, 15. I
Look
think.
at you. It's like a mini boot, eh?
Wow, I was looking at the torpedo size Sauvignon Blanc to give it this concentration that the Marsan Roussan gave it, and I was like, okay, so now I'm
How am I
seeing
getting
that,
these other things? But
wow, that's
that
so
Rued,
cool.
I think.
So once again, these are wines that there's just not enough for like the open market. You're not going to see them on shelves. You're not going to find them on wine lists. This is where you really have to be a predator. You have to call us. You have to come by the winery. You have got to get a little bit of chutzpah and come in and
I'm just doing it. I'm so sorry.
Get in there, baby. Nice, folks. It is March in the Napa Valley.
Everything is blooming.
The acacia trees and the live oaks are going to start dusting our cars with that yellow powder pretty much every morning.
We're only a month away from that being
morning.
all purple and being the most beautiful thing for a month.
Yeah.
And then it'll go back to being what looks like dead vines. What is that thing?
Wisteria?
Oh, that standard deviation just smells fabulous.
Yeah.
The Big O. So you can probably give a better definition of what the Big O is. It is the variable that is the most important thing to figure out when figuring out an algorithm, I guess. I don't know, it's beyond me.
You know what? That's not my definition of the Big O. So you can come up with whatever mathematical...
What, you going Office Space?
Absolutely, man. So anybody that buys it, you have to log on and show us
your O face. That's awesome. Damn, my last two tosses are off.
You've been in Miami, I get that. Not Miami. Where were you?
Fort Myers.
Fort Myers.
Thank you, Frank and Pam Albee. Guys, all right, amazing. Hosts, everything. We just had a blast. The wines showed amazing. I could see tears going down Josh's face while he's drinking his own wine.
So I wanted to go from that with the Marsan Roussan with the weight of that to Richie to see if the weight of Marsan Roussan how it would balance and compete with Richie. But then,
texture will be.
Excuse me, KL. I need to then see where the base that was.
Okay, I miss your musk. You just reach all you like, buddy.
You know I've already showered twice.
We should get a place together after this, man.
Yeah, I love you so much.
Do you work out once and shower twice after?
You shower before you go to the gym so you can sweat
warm your
clean
body
and
up?
be pure. No, you
have
don't
a hot
want to
tub
have
that you
gym
jump in?
mogimbu. I do, but I don't because I don't want to taint it with overnight goo. So I get up and shower, then go to the gym, then
Hot
come
shower.
home, shave, because your head from perspiration and both showers is so soft. Then I roll my day. But yeah, no, the first 2 showers allow you to be cleansed and roll the rest of the day.
I think there should be like a sparkling wine called 2 showers. Maybe in a can or something.
2 showers, something you can drink in the shower.
Like
So,
the Ivory commercial.
You need to, guys, try the Rued next to the standard
that's the
deviation.
thing. Yeah.
And then
That's
it'll,
how
it'll
I
help
would.
you to extrapolate where the Marsan Roussan changes and manipulates because it's 50%. And you see the typicity of the Rued.
There it is
For
again.
sure.
Which is
At least
really
he didn't use the rabbit
cool.
ears, so we don't have to drink.
But think about the progression. With all these Addax Chardonnays, they've completed the white wine journey. You can take just as exciting a journey with us here with a white
Only
wine flight
whites.
tasting Sauv Blanc to Sauv Blanc XL to Big O to Chardonnay to, I mean, all the way through.
We
the
haven't even
gamut,
talked
the
about
blends.
Elyse or Morgado.
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm telling you, you can have just as satisfying a full white wine day here. And then you launch into the Cessibon, to the Pinots, to the Merlots and the blends and the cabs. Like, we can do parallel journeys while you're tasting.
We have 0, just like this show,
filter.
0 filter or script.
Consideration. Empathy.
Speak for yourself.
If you want to be hurt aggressively by people who love you, we've got that.
It's true. It's tough love, but if you allow, so I tell everybody, it's like, hey, you are not going to leave here feeling like you got shorted on wine. We are not saying here's our 4 wine tasting, and I'm gonna act like it's, oh, you're so special, I'm gonna give you a 5th wine. No, we can taste 14 different wines, but I'm gonna encourage you to dump, spit, and not waste whatever the buzz or whatever on stuff you don't want to drink.
What kind of journey you
We're
feel
gonna
like going on, man.
and it's one little taste of one thing. And it's like, cool. Now I'm steering this way, and we just find out your path, and that's all we want to do. What people ask me all the time, what is my favorite wine?
You guys talk. It's almost like
It
you
is
need a
whatever
sweat
you
lodge
like.
or a teepee.
I have the shaman. I actually have the
we still do that
shaman.
from Atlanta. Is that still okay?
No, it's the Washington football team.
Thank you.
No, it's the Atlanta Braves. We're good with it.
I know.
But everybody,
Florida
thank you
State
for allowing me
Seminoles.
to join in. I'm grabbing the AK Chardonnay.
That is amazing.
Shameless.
And,
So do we want to?
Shameless.
Gentlemen, I love you both.
Hey, thank
Brother,
you so much.
I appreciate it,
Thank
man.
you. Be
I'm
good.
sorry for the stain on your
My
KL,
brother,
love you, brother.
pocket.
Foot up. Everybody,
Now
you want to live life. You need to spend an afternoon here with our team. We do things different. If you look at what we can bring from institution to Addax to Elyse to Morgado to standard deviation, everything here understands a certain level of excellence and execution. Everybody, well, a pro wrestler used to say that. I can't believe I just did that.
Woo! Is that Savage?
It wasn't Ric Flair because Ric Flair's my guy.
nice.
Woo! But
The blonde hair.
everybody,
fabulous.
if you come here, ask to look in the cellar so you can see the level of sanitations. Everybody understands you have
He's
to
just
have
kidding.
a singular
Yeah,
level
right.
of personal excellence and standards of work ethic that translates to everything we do. Nothing's an accident. I get to tell everybody I'm the winemaker, and that's so cool. We have an army of guys and gals that work their
They make
butts
all of
off.
us look good.
And none of us would get to do this if it wasn't for
Yeah.
our team in the cellar. And
If you like our
we're
bottles,
blessed that
wait till you
they
see our
do it all.
cans.
All right, so on that note, like we're signing off, but
I'm
here's,
out.
here's your highlighter. You
guys-
just highlighted what we did.
Yeah,
Drop
yeah.
the mic and we're
Yeah,
out.
there we go. Boom!